Well, it's welcome back to our afternoon session here at the CTU's ICT Week 2021. And we have some exciting guests for some presentations this afternoon. Hope you enjoyed your very brief coffee break. I'd like to welcome Dr. Annalee Babb. Dr. Babb is the founder and CEO of Intersections, a regional innovation cluster driver where creative minds converge to imagine and implement a better, more sustainable future. Dr. Babb's presentation is entitled Accelerating Caribbean Innovation and Intersections Initiative. And she's joining us from across the waters in Barbados. Annalee, good afternoon.
Yes, it would help if I unmuted my microphone.
Welcome, welcome. How are you?
I am so very well. It seems like we'll be seeing quite a bit of each other this week.
I know, we have this love affair going on, don't we?
Absolutely. It's wonderful to be here. Excellencies, Mr. Secretary General, colleagues all, thank you so much, Rodney, for the invitation to be here to speak on accelerating Caribbean innovation. I'd like to begin, first of all, by congratulating you on your new position. I am so very excited at your opportunity, and I think you have a lot of friends in the Caribbean that will be supporting you in your new mandate. So congratulations, and thanks to the team at the CTU. So I'd like to talk a little bit, I'll power through this because I know we did lose some time, but talking about accelerating Caribbean innovation, pathways to recovery, reconstruction, and resilience in a rapidly evolving world. And I think that we are all aware that COVID really has changed the game. And my position is that we have run out of time, and the infrastructure that we have is no longer enough to carry us all the way. And many of you who know me would be familiar with this access model. It was a part of my PhD dissertation more years ago than I care to say. It's called the 6-layered model of societal access. And in my dissertation, I argued at the time that if we liberalize our telecoms, open up all of our telecommunication systems to competition, to liberalization and all of this, it simply would not be enough because there were different aspects of access that we were not paying attention to in the Caribbean. And 18 years later, I've lived to see that this model is still relevant to what is happening in the Caribbean. So the most basic level of access is physical access. It's the network, the internet connectivity, all of that. But then there's financial access. I call it the equity layer. The fusion of the ICT and services through our economies and societies because people actually are able to participate. And they have the money as well to be able to be part of that network of networks. And the next layer is basic access. This is skills, this is education, basic skills, but how to use the internet, how do I use a computer, how do I go onto these knowledge networks and engage and so on. And if this skills layer is lacking, then it doesn't matter what our infrastructure looks like, how cutting edge it is, we will be losing out in terms of socioeconomic development. And then we have secure access. Everybody now is talking about cybersecurity, about this move in the situation with COVID to all of these virtual frameworks. There was a time when this meeting would have been held in person. And now everything is online. Are we paying enough attention to security? And policy access, the regulatory layer. It's policy, but it's regulation, it's our laws. How do we regulate for a converged era that we're living in? But ultimately, what I want to talk about today is enlightened access. I call it enlightened access. This is local innovation, knowledge and content creation. And these things are absolutely critical to us that we have to begin to think about. And I think we're doing it in pockets, but how can we institutionalize and grow our innovation within the Caribbean? And this is just another model because I like to visually be able to represent some of the concepts that I'm talking about. So if we're talking about enlightened access, the inner ring is cultural, creative, and experience industries. I believe that these are the Caribbean's key differentiators, but we operate in silos when it comes to these and other sectors. And so a few years ago, I decided to draw almost a circular representation of what an ecosystem could look like. So you have cultural and creative and experience industries at the center, new digital media, sports and leisure, content production, photography, literary arts, radio, TV, cable, web, software, arts, craft, etc. ICT is also in there as well, but the other layer, the services industries. So we have retail, legal, banking, all of these that we call services sectors. And then we have traditional industries like research and development, retail, construction, fisheries, manufacturing. And my argument always has been that we have not unleashed as sufficiently as we could the cultural, creative, and experience industries, but also services sectors to really enhance our traditional industries like retail and food and beverage. So you have examples like we can leverage the cultural, creative, and experience industries to put out creative content, product, film, videos, art, fashion that supports the growth of the sectors that are traditional, like food and beverage, like wine, rum, and spirits. We live in an era now where people want to experience. They don't just want to drink the rum. They want to experience how it was made and the story and history behind it. So this, I think, is a very important visual for us to understand that we need to move from silos to systems of regional innovation where we unleash the cultural and creative and experience industries to do a number of things. And this is where we come to my new initiative called Intersections. And I believe that one of my colleagues who is on my board, I'd like to shout out Mr. Paul Acton. I believe he is listening in on this presentation. But Intersections is what we call a cluster driver. It's designed to do a number of things. But we say it's where collaboration, creativity, technology, and innovation meet at the intersections of all of those industries and sectors that you just saw earlier. That's where new ideas happen, new value is created. Our mission is that we empower innovators and creators from all walks of life to collaborate, originate, accelerate, incubate, and benefit from their groundbreaking ideas. So how do we do this? We have a number of value propositions that we're looking at to accelerate creative and tech innovation. So our idea is that, first of all, people need to co-locate, whether it's virtually or actually. You need to cluster people, get them talking to each other across disciplines, across sectors, nurturing world-class creative and tech innovation by offering specialized facilities, services, programs, knowledge, and support. And I'm not sure if my colleagues from Barbados are here, but if they are, a special welcome and good evening to Senator the Honorable Kay McConney, who is the Minister of Innovation, Science, and Smart Technology in Barbados. I don't know if PS Charlie Brown is here or Mr. Clifford Bostick, but in 2019, the ministry did something that I thought was pretty forward-thinking and created a Smart Barbados Week. And the event itself was very, very illuminating, educational. People were excited about it. But what I found most interesting was that when all of these sessions were finished in the evening, this is before COVID, that we would have a reception. People had some drinks and some canapes and little finger foods and so on. And we had a cutoff time to leave the facility by 9:30, and we had a difficulty getting people to leave because they were just talking and sharing ideas and so on. So I think in the Caribbean that we really do lack co-location spaces where creative people in tech and crossing different specializations can meet together and discuss ideas and develop new value. But part of what I think is very important is that we can land global startups whose value propositions match Caribbean and Latin American technology, innovation, and creative markets, attracting and nurturing new talent, thinking, ideas, intellectual property, technology, and capabilities. And why do I know this? Because I'm the founding CEO of Invest Barbados. And when we founded it, I, again, was astonished at the number of smart of startup companies around the world, from places like Spain, like Sweden, Europe, all over the world, that because the Caribbean and Barbados has great ICT infrastructure, would be prepared to move their young families to these regions to work. Now, we had to wait for something as unfortunate as COVID to happen for us to realize that we can attract these particularly young professionals to work remotely from here. And we've seen this take off in Barbados with the Barbados Welcome Stamp. I know other countries are doing it as well. But the interesting thing about it in my mind is that it's not just people as in human bodies that come, they're bringing their money, they're bringing their networks, their knowledge, their ideas, their innovation, and their IP as well. And if we can get them to stay here, and perhaps the next value, part of the value proposition is leverage. We believe that in Intersections that we have a collaborative cluster model that would be appealing to startups in the Caribbean, but also to many of these global startups that are looking to expand their mandates from Barbados and countries like this into Latin America and the world. So if you can actually have these companies landed here and joint venture with local talent to grow their companies, but also leverage that local talent that may create their own value propositions and own value from their ideas, we can help them by discovering, financing, developing, distributing niche indigenous content, services, solutions that are distinguished for creative excellence. But in doing all of that, we know that the internet is just hungry for content. So while we are teaching and training and helping these companies to grow, we can also be learning, taking videos, doing content and so on, so that proven creators, innovators, and business development specialists are sharing their knowledge. They're producing content, services, solutions to engage, to entertain, to inspire, enrich, and transform. And we take that and we put it on the web, we share it with people who are interested also in learning, and that is another value proposition, another value stream. But what is particularly important to me is that there is, I believe, a gap in the Caribbean where a lot of us who have learned many things and so on, and we have grown, but we're not teaching necessarily the next generation. And this is something that young people keep telling me, that a lot of what we call the mavens in the Caribbean and Barbados, those who have made it in their areas of specialization, don't necessarily have opportunities to nurture the next generation of global creators and innovators who do good while doing well. And this is what Intersections is also focused on. So these are our niche areas of specialization, the well-being economy. I'd like to focus particularly on the well-being economy, the efficiency economy, and creative economy, because we've already done a tremendous amount of work in these areas. And I think if Minister McConney is present, she would be aware that the Ministry of Innovation, Science, and Smart Tech in Barbados has done a lot to seek to foster efficiency in the economy. This is something that we believe we need to take as Intersections to the Caribbean as well. So while I'm no longer with the Ministry of Innovation, Science, and Smart Technology, I believe that what we learned there, we can help other Caribbean countries to improve their efficiency. And how do we do this? One of the projects that we worked on while I was with the government of Barbados the last 3 years was something called a Barbados Tech Accelerator for the delivery of digital public services. And what we found is that there are ideas all over Barbados and the Caribbean that can help governments to be more efficient. But the problem is that we don't have structures and mechanisms to identify the people who have those ideas and then help them to develop them. On the well-being economy, for example, we developed the BIM Safe application, mobile app, the BIM Safe ban, and Mr. Ian Withers, I don't know if he's here, but he developed the SHAPE application that has helped us manage the COVID-19 pandemic and travelers into Barbados better than I think many countries around the world. So this is something that the Prime Minister just came up to me after a meeting and she says, Annalee, I need a wristband, I need a mobile app. These are the things I need to manage travel. And we didn't have any structure. at the time, no resources, but we put a team together. We told the Prime Minister and Cabinet what we needed. They gave us what we needed, and we developed a solution. And if we could do it that quickly under these COVID conditions, I know that we could do it in a number of other areas to help the well-being economy, health and wellness, but also the efficiency economy and the creative economy as well. And I'll give some examples on the creative economy to close. We are hosting, Barbados is hosting UNCTAD 15. And what we know is that inspiring bespoke content services solutions are trending globally, driven by demographic shifts, smart technology, new media, culture, and creativity. I've always believed from the time I wrote my dissertation in 2003 that small islands, and the Caribbean in particular, have the ability to produce and market quality creative content and social impact technology at competitive costs. And next week, UNCTAD 15 is hosting the Creative Industries Trade Digitization Forum completely virtually. I am one of the co-lead organizers of that forum, along with Mr. Adrian Green, who is in the cultural and creative sector. And together, our team has put together a forum that I think you will find very inspiring. You can see the possibilities for yourself by going to www.unctad15.bb, but you can also register, and that's the link. I can share it individually with you. But we have, for example, created something called Newbridge City, which is an interactive digital universe by Anna Macon. Mr. Omar Kennedy is the lead on that. It's an isometric atmosphere role-playing game where visitors learn about Barbados and the forum itself. We also have Tales in the Forest. Some people might say with the virtual situation being what it is and people not being able to meet in person, can we even have theater anymore? Well, we have Ms. Michelle Hinkson Cox has done Tales in the Forest, which is a digital theater production based on Caribbean folklore from many of our islands. It's produced by her company, Rima Acts, and the Barbados Community College Theater Department. And then we have an amazing digital NFT art exhibit led by Zoe Osborne. And she has curated, she and Anika Small, some amazing digital art, and talked a little bit and shown us how we can turn art into NFTs or non-fungible tokens. So these are the idea is, how do we wed technology with creativity and culture and heritage and history to take what we do in the Caribbean to the world? And all of this requires very robust ICT and telecoms frameworks. These are the only things. We have to grow the Caribbean economy. We cannot maintain our development. Barbados lost 30,000 jobs initially last year with COVID. Tourism is not going to come back as quickly as we want it to. How do we move on from there? So these are just some of the ideas that we are developing at Intersections and with our colleagues. And my invitation to you is to engage the world with us. Now is the time for new intersections. We welcome opportunities to explore, collaborate, and realize a shared vision for Caribbean transformation. Thank you to Mr. Rodney Taylor, the CTU, and all of our partners. I believe that the CTU has made a commitment to us to partner with us and help us to help the Caribbean drive innovation. We look forward to partnering with Caribbean governments that are interested in landing some of the companies that we have identified, but also joint venturing and growing local creativity, innovation, and culture. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Annalee. Quite an exciting presentation and so much information. And of course, well, you know where my heart is, so I don't even have to give a back announce on that. But I'm sure you're going to get a lot of feedback, because this is it's innovative. It's an idea whose time has come, and certainly I know that people are just going to be, they're really going to be truly inspired by these possibilities. And we have
May
a
I
lot
say,
of people. Sure.
may I say, Josanne, that I want to just also give kudos to Josanne. If you tune in next Wednesday to our Creative Industries Trade Digitization Forum, Josanne is our moderator for our opening high-level session where the Prime Minister and others will be speaking. And Josanne will be helping to moderate that. And she's also moderated a couple of the panels within our forum. So thank you, Josanne. We're looking forward to partnering with you as well moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you, sister.